craziness has been happening over the past few weeks here.
There is some talk in
dude,
the world of college football.
What's going on, man?
Everything is going on. Everything that you don't think was going to happen, it's madness upon madness.
I've been trying to like describe it and put it into words all day in my head. All right, you know me, when I'm in my head, it's a dangerous place to be in, and I'm trying to describe, because when I was a kid growing up and colleges are signing in coaches and whatnot, it wasn't as grand of a deal, right? It was all about the players, it's about getting 5-star commits and who's going there and who's going where,
Yeah.
and the coaches kind of came in and left, right? There wasn't a lot of hype behind it. It wasn't this big whatever word, insert whatever you want to put there, this big charade of excitement. But now it feels like it's the coach show. And I don't know if it's because of the money that's being involved with it now, where because now it's almost like you're playing for almost a professional football team, because money's a factor. People don't want to say it is, but it's a factor, and a lot of schools are going to take a dump because of this. For Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley to pack up and leave after the dominance they've had,
winning teams.
Winning teams, and what we just talked about, Notre Dame could possibly be in the playoffs, and homeboy just packed his bag and left. He's already got his LSU gear on. Bro, no lie, a week.
One more game, you could be in the playoffs. I'm out.
A week ago, they asked him, they go, hey, would you leave? And he goes, Mike Tomlin said it best. He goes, Mike Tomlin said, unless the fairy godmother comes around and hands me a $250 million contract, he goes, I got to talk to my wife, but more than likely, I'm not going anywhere.
But he didn't say no.
Insert $150 million contract. I guess that was the fairy godmother. Wife said, absolutely, we're out of here. It's cold as shit up here. I'm busting. Look, dude, this is crazy to me. Like, it just, everything's happening so fast. I can't, again, I still haven't been able to find words to describe what it is, or this phenom of coaches just kind of packing up and just really focused on themselves. I mean, they're making it all about them and getting paid fucking guap. And
that's the thing. They're making so much money. And the amount of money that these athletic associations are bringing in with all the different revenue streams from the conferences, the media, some of these conferences have their own channel. Like some of these teams, like Texas has their own channel, a team with their own channel. So if you start thinking about the amount of money, the amount of revenue that these teams can bring in, you start looking at your head football coach as a CEO.
Sure.
And you're running essentially a business. With the
it's always been a business, but now it's in your face.
But there's nothing. But back in the day of like the Steve Spurriers and the Bobby Bowdens and what we came to know, those guys were at where they were because they wanted to be there. I don't know if that's the situation anymore, right? I don't know if how
your CEO analogy is beautiful. Like before, these guys were coming in as coaches, mentors, parents. Now it's a business. Now again, it's always been a business move, but it's an even bigger business move now. That's a great point.
Well, now they can hire mentors and all those things, right? Now they have so many tutors. I'm serious. They have tutors and they have athletic administrators. And look, the head coach went from being like that, I'm going to bring you home kind of father figure, to I'm going to recruit you and I'm going to surround you with people that are going to help take care of you and keep you on path and keep you on track for your academics and give you life advice. I don't know how much the head coach at this point can even have that much impact on these kids day to day. From what I'm watching, it's impossible that they do it because their staff just continues to grow and grow and grow. Now, the NCAA only allows you to have so many coaches, but there's no limit on how many of the coaches that you can have for assistants. And they have grad assistants, and they have visual assistants, and they have, even your offensive coordinator can have a running game assistant and a passing game assistant. And I mean, they are starting when I say college is starting to build themselves like the NFL.
Yes, very much.
They're talking about making the playoffs 16 teams. I mean, we are starting to get to the point of a very prototype NFL concept
Again,
of how you bring teams in.
it's always been the farm league, right, for the NFL, obviously, but it's becoming more and more. It's like a minor league at this point. And again, I know it's the only step up to it, but it feels more real than before. It was college, right? You hear the word college football, it felt different than what it's starting to feel like now. The other big thing that's crazy to me is these massive contracts for how long they are. Michigan State's head coach for 10 years.
10 years?
What the? What?
10 years?
Bro,
When
Florida
did they
can't
ever
keep a
stick
coach
around
for
for 10
5
years
minutes.
anymore?
Florida can't keep a coach for 5 fucking minutes. Now we're going up to 10 years. Now, again, obviously the person can get fired, but why the hell would you sign something like that? Like, the coach is winning. But, like,
Yeah, for sure.
again, maybe
Because
it's
if
a
you
good
fire, look, in 3 years, if you fire the guy, you have a certain amount of money.
you're losing. Yeah. Now, again, I maybe it'll be a good thing. Maybe we'll get out of this carousel of head coaches, and maybe we've talked about it over and over again on the show about, hey, it takes time to build a dynasty. Saban needed time, and once you get in that rhythm, right, you're going to be great. And maybe that's what they're seeing. Like, hey, we have to give these guys time. If I believe in this guy, I think he can do it, then I have to invest in it. And if that's the case, I like it, right? Hey, college coaches have it a lot harder than college basketball coaches. Billy Donovan had it made. The guy Coach K. Coach K is a great coach. The coach from Kentucky, I can't think of his name right now. Can you know what I'm talking? You know what I'm thinking?
Oh, Petrino.
Is that
There was Stubbs. There was
Petrino.
Oh, and you're talking about
Petrino's
Jim.
leader. I can't think of it, but
It starts with a C.
those guys secure their job because all they got to do is make the dance and win a few games in the dance. They get knocked down in the 8th round, like whatever. What's that?
Right? They only have like 12. How many players are rostered on a basketball team?
Like Kentucky has, I think it's 10. It's not very many, 10 or 12. And Kentucky hasn't been good, they're good, but they haven't won in forever because it's very hard to win. Their jobs are a lot different. Long contracts for them, I get it. It just hasn't been the same in college football. I'm not saying I'm against it. It's just different. Look, I love seeing like year in and year out because the Spurriers of the day, the Bowdens, the reason why they're looked at for the way they're looked at is because they were there for such a long time. They were the freaking the
face
anchor.
Of the program.
Yeah, the face of the program. Even Bob Stoops for Oklahoma, like that's who I remember. And everyone's
He's
all in their
coach now.
Everyone's always like in the fields because when Lincoln Riley kind of came in and kicked him to the side, it's like Stoops was your boy. You kind of did him dirty. Now look who's still there. So it's just crazy to see what's happening. I hate Brian Kelly. So I think he's
like one of my least favorite coaches. Look, the guy's super successful.
Douche.
But he just he starts yelling and gets red in the face.
I can't stand the guy, dude. I'm glad he's going to LSU because I hope he falls flat on his face. I feel bad for Notre Dame.
Root against the coach and the team because
it's a double because I love Ed Orgeron. So I was like,
with the coaches and the salaries and we can all kind of like just watch a little the escalation of it, right? If you think about anything in a supply and demand, there's a breaking point. There becomes a point where the cost drives itself up so much that it breaks itself and it drops, right? And we see it with like everything. Like right now we're on the bad end of gas prices. It's way up. It'll get to a point where it breaks itself, it comes back down. Like all these other things. The coaches in the NCAA, it's going to get now NFL's different because there's so much money and there's only 32 teams. But when you get into the NCAA, I think you're going to see that there's going to be a breaking point in the supply and demand, and
something's going to give. I don't know what or when, but it just I don't think it can function like this. Moving on from Kelly,